Hi guys, welcome to my first video. So in this video I'm going to show you guys how I created this set of acrylic nails by myself, and if you want to see how I did it, just keep on watching. So the first thing I do before I put on any acrylic or any nail tips or anything, I prep my nails, and I do this by pushing back the cuticles. And I don't really do anything else to my cuticles, like cutting them or filing them with like special tools. So yeah, just push them back. After pushing back the cuticles, I take these sanding bands from Cakes Ink Nails and I put them on my e-file so I can file down the shine from my natural nails. And all of this is to prevent lifting. And these sanding bands are 150 grit, so they are not too coarse, and I wouldn't use a too coarse of a grit on your natural nails so you don't damage them. And also don't use your e-file on a high speed because this can cause friction and cause your natural nails to burn, and you don't want to burn any clients or yourself. And if you want, you can also use a hand file if you prefer that, but I just use a e-file with a sanding band because I just like it better and it goes way faster. So after I'm done taking off the shine from my natural nails, I just dust them off so any dust doesn't come in the way of putting on any tips or anything. And I'm gonna start putting on my nail tips now. I'm using this glue also from Cakes Ink Nails, and these clear tips, I don't remember their like exact name or anything, but I'm gonna link most of the products down in the description so you can get them for yourselves. And I'm using clear tips, but you can also use natural tips if you prefer that. It's just like a preference type of thing. I just prefer seeing the color underneath of my nails.
Boys, we hit the jackpot this time. Well, boys, we hit the jackpot this time.
So after gluing on all of the nail tips, I take a cutting tool and cut them all to my desired length. You can also just use nail clippers or nail scissors if you have that, but this just makes it easier. And this is like the hardest part ever because I can never decide what length I want, but I went for like a medium to short because last time I had really long nails. And if you want to make sure they're all the same length, you can put them next to each other like that and then just cut them again or file them later. So now you can see I'm taking a file. I'm just filing the side walls just a little bit because I'm going for a tapered square shape. And if I would go for like a coffin or a stiletto shape, I would take different types of tips. I would take stiletto tips so I don't have to shape them too much later. And I also blend the tips into my natural nail, and that's pretty much all I do.
Well, boys, we hit the jackpot this time.
So after I shaped all of my nail tips, I go in with a cotton round and rubbing alcohol, and I go over all of my nail beds with this to dehydrate my nails. And you can use dehydrator, but I don't think it's really necessary and it's kind of a waste of money. So you can just use rubbing alcohol. After that, I use this primer from Valentino, and I go over my nails twice with this. And I think this is a really good primer because I never have problems with lifting, and I don't know if this is the primer or just the way that I prep my nails, but yeah, I just think it's a really nice primer. Here you can see the monomer that I'm using. I'm using the brand ACRYLIC, and I think the brush that I'm using is a size 12. I'm not really sure anymore. But so I just start putting on my acrylic, and I'm using this orange and yellow from Mia's Secret, and then a lighter yellow from Valentino, and I just start swirling them together. I'm using fairly wet beads, not too wet so they start dripping off of my nail tip, but not dry or medium beads because that makes it way harder to swirl the colors together. And I also don't pat on the top of my only on the side walls, as you can see, because if I would pat it or drag it on top of the acrylic, that would take away the swirly shapes, if that makes sense. So just make sure of that. Also, you don't have to worry if it's not like even on top because we're gonna encapsulate it later with clear, so you don't have to worry about that. And as you can see, where my natural nail begins, I blend it into my natural nail so later it can have that nice flow of ombre when I put on the nude. After putting on the colored acrylic, I start putting on this nude also from Mia Secret, and I start blending it into the colors and creating that ombre effect. So if you guys want like a more in-depth tutorial of how I do ombres, or just like more like a beginner friendly type of tutorial, just let me know in the comments, or like how I shape my nails and file them, because I'm not really going in depth and explaining what I do in this video. So if you really would be interested in that, just let me know. So as I said, I'm encapsulating the nails now with clear acrylic, and I'm also using this acrylic from Mia Secret. And yeah, this is just so everything is even, as I said before, so you don't have to like file too much later. And also I do this pretty much with every set, especially when I do ombres or glitter designs, just so you don't file away that fade or any glitters. After all of the acrylic is on, I start filing my acrylic with a hand file, and I always start with a hand file, and I'm using this 100 by 100 grit hand file by also Cakes Ink Nails. And I like to use a rougher grit because it goes faster. Just be careful around your cuticle area with this. And I just file the side walls and the front of my nail, and when I go to the front of my nail, I put my hand file in a 90-degree angle so it's really straight at the front. And I also go over the top, but I don't do too much shaping and stuff because I use my e-file for that. So as I said, I use my e-file for shaping, but I also use it in the spots that my hand file couldn't go, and I especially use it around my cuticle area, as you can see there, just to how do you say that, like blend in the acrylic into my natural nail, so when it grows you can't see that bump. But I'm using a coarse bit from Amazon, and just be careful when you're like a beginner. I would recommend using a safety bit because these types of bits are really sharp and it's really easy to cut yourself. And as you can see, I also go around the side walls again just to make that shape really sharp and nice. And after all of my shaping and filing is done, I just buff my nails, and to make sure everything is nice and buffed, I go over my nail with my finger. As you could see, I just did that, yeah, right there. And that's just to make sure there's no little cracks anymore, because when you put on your top coat later, you can see all those tiny scratches from the file, and you wouldn't want that, so just make sure it's really smooth. So we're finally at my favorite part ever. It's putting on the top coat, and I just love this part. It's so satisfying. I'm using this top coat from Valentino, and it's a non-wipe top coat, and I love it. It's so shiny and it's really good quality. It never like cracks on the sides or anything. And yeah, I always start with my 4 fingers and then I put my thumbs. So I do my 4 fingers first, put it into the UV lamp for 60 seconds, and then I do my thumbs. Mostly I just do 1 coat since this is so shiny already. I only do 2 coats when I can see that I missed some spots. So this is the finished result. I'm so happy how they turned out, and the last step that I do is just put on some cuticle oil to hydrate the cuticles after all of the filing and stuff. This is not really necessary, but I like to do it. And yeah, this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching my first ever video. If you have any more ideas for tutorials and stuff, or what you guys would like to see me do, just let me know in the comments.